It was like there was one sky outsider and a sky just as huge on the inside. She was one of the more interesting people you'd ever want to meet. But nobody knew it, because she lived in Gray, Indiana, a town which was primarily notable for being the most boring place in the world.
June, put a lid on
Mom, there's nothing to do but live here.
Oh, hell, you got everything right here in Gray if all you need.
Mr. Collins, there's no need to curse.
We got plenty of farmers.
That would be me.
You got people who fix thrashers and grub plows and broken down wagons and such.
That would be you.
And we got plenty of folks to fix meat.
That would be me.
Oh, and me.
And me.
And me.
I mainly get stuck with the dishes.
Breakfast, supper, and dinner every blessed day, 3 times a day, till the end of a foreseeable time.
That's right. You know, you don't have but one soul to cook for.
Oh, that's not true. I cook for myself. I cook for my brother. And
Well, what I mean, dear, is you don't have a husband.
bless you for pointing that out, Elva.
And we have a soul fixer.
Phineas Wingfield, brother to Tanny, and pastor at large.
That man would baptize a dog.
He always did love water.
One time he got so hepped up with the spirit, he tried dunking a cat. That didn't go over too well.
Hold on. Read it now, would you? The reason why I dumped every last creature inside, including the aforementioned feline, is this. I just can't imagine heaven without it. If heaven ain't much like Indiana, well, Lord, God forgive me. I don't want to go. But I'm planning on going. And I'm planning on taking everything in this God-blessed town with me. Lock, stock, and cat.
But Puck wasn't much for the water, you see. She scratched that preacher's eye out.
Oh, it was awful. She lashed out, gutted it clean from the socket, that cat.
Well, I heard tell she ate that eye too.
Gulped it right down. Sat there and smiled.
You see that? That's what I'm talking about. That right there. That eyeball-eating cat is the most interesting thing that ever happened around here. At least till my story begins. Anatomy of Grey.
Chapter 1.
In the beginning, we had folks to shot horses, folks to fix meals and thrashers, and folks to save souls. But the one thing we lacked in our town was a person to fix other people. For Gray at the time was a town with no healer. And that's where the death of my father fits in.
Softly and tenderly, Jesus is calling, calling for you and for me. See on the portals he's waiting and watching, watching for you and for me. Come home, come home, ye who are weary, come home. Softly and tenderly, Jesus is calling, calling no sinner, come home.
June lost her father. Rebecca was widowed. And we lost a good neighbor and friend.
There was not a thing that man could not grow. His alfalfa would spring up so sweet that the men would stand in front of his fields and weep.
And then all of a sudden, one day, his heart just gave out.
Junie found him, still tethered to his plow.
His face was dark blue under the white hot noon sun. And the dust of his fields was just floating around him.
We gathered together, like leaves of autumn together, to turn that man back to the earth.
Holy Ghost, sinner, come home.
The Lord giveth, and the Lord hath taken away.
Blessed be the the name of the Lord.
Ashes to ashes,
Ashes to ashes,
and dust unto dust.
dust unto dust.
It was a beautiful service.
He's going to be sorely missed, Becky.
Come.
You're the first, Becky. I'm so sorry.
Your pa's gone to a better place now, Judy. Don't you forget that here.
Throughout the funeral and the well-meaning whispers which followed, I kept choking back the urge to just stand up and scream. It ain't right. It ain't fair that my pa is gone and my mother is weeping alone in her room. I cannot breathe without crying, and nothing is ever going to feel the same to me again, ever. I just can't believe that my pa won't see the sunrise again, or be there to give me away when I marry someday. I would trade every feeling of happiness I've ever known just to see him again. People say time heals everything, but time didn't heal my father, and neither did God.
So, that night June put pen to paper and wrote herself a business-like letter.
Dearest Almighty, I don't want anyone I care about to die again, ever, including but not limited to me. So could you please send us a doctor?
She wrote,
And make him a good-looking doctor.
June thought.
Because I'm almost 16 and I'm not vain, but I know I'm not ugly. And most of the boys around here are just boys around here.
May that healer arrived with precipitous friends in a number of ways.
Good Lord, would you look at them thunderheads?
Rolling in blacker sin on Sunday.
Well, maybe she'll blow right on by us.
I doubt it, Holmes.
I don't mind the rain, but I hate that darn thunder.
That's just the good Lord up there blowing his nose, son.
I've seen some hellers in my day. This one takes the cake.
Mr. Collins, have you seen my dog?
No.
If that dog of yours is any smarts, Judy, it's hiding out.
Law claims she spotted a funnel cloud yonder.
Twister. It's a weather twister, no doubt about that.
I gotta find my dog. Lady.
You better find a stone cellar, Judy.
It's fixing to break any minute.
I'm gonna find one for myself.
Oh, good Lord, it's blowing in fast.
June! Come on, honey!
Ma, I can't find my dog.
Don't you have enough sense to get out of the weather?
What in the world is that thing?
It's a tornado, June! What do you think it is?
Well, just look at it, Ma.
Oh, my heavenly days!
Hey, preacher. Hey, Reverend, come take a look at this, will ya?
Well, what creation is that?
I think it's a man up there.
Jesus!
Oh, it is a man!
It's him, Ma. It's him.
He dropped his boot.
He's heading right for the river!
Well, you're in gray, stranger.
Hey!
You want your boot back?
I don't think she's breathing.
Oh, somebody help her!
Breathe, Judy.
She's fixing to die.
Is her heart beating?
What?
Does she have a pulse?
I don't know! I just...
Yes, I'm in the room here. I'll do what I can.
Lord God, we ask that you bless her and that you heal her.
This stranger among us, this man from the sky, he knelt down beside that girl, took his face in her hands, and an amazing thing happened.
Sweet Jesus!
He breathed his breath into her body. And I tell you this, the moment her eyes opened, the wind quit howling and the rain quit just like that.
Was he kissing missing her?
What's your name, mister?
Well, ma'am, I don't know that I quite comprehend this myself, but the fact is, my name is Gray.
Gray, you say?
G-R-A-Y.
Galen P. Gray. The pleasure is all mine.
That's not the dirtiest thing I ever did here.
Oh, listen, I'm telling you folks, this man resurrected that child.
Oh, no, please, let's not overstate the case. Resurrection and resuscitation are two entirely different kettles of fish. Now, having been involved in the past in some somewhat various anatomical endeavors, I'm sure you will understand why I am loath to have the term resurrectionist attached to my person, if not to my reputation, per se.
No offense intended.
None taken.
Well, what in God's name was that flying contraption you were in?
It's called a balloon, Mr.
Wingfield. Pastor Phineas Wingfield.
Pastor. Well, it holds a voluminous amount of heated and hence pressurized gaseous matter.
What?
A load of hot air, Homer.
Precisely, ma'am. Technically, it's known as an aerostat. They're really quite common in France.
France, is that where you're from?
Mr. Gray, I don't know how to thank you.
Are you all right, June?
Well, I feel a little lightheaded.
Everything's going to be fine, June. Just go home and lie down for a bit. I would recommend that you give her a dosage of hot tea and some sorghum to ward off any chance of the croup.
Hot tea, you say?
Hot tea's the ticket.
Just take it one step at a time.
I don't know about you all, but I sure could use a stiff drink.
Well, if you're going to drink, mister, I'm buying.
Hard drink is the downfall of civilized man.
Let's go this way, Don.
Now, I don't cotton to whiskey, and I can't abide smoke, but unlike a lot of good Christians, I'm willing to tolerate both in the name of commerce. And so, Mr. Galen P. Gray made his way down to the corner cafe.
Wasn't quite a cafe, more like a tavern.
We weren't even on the darn corner.
Now, diet
He said.
holds the keys to constitutional fortitude, my friends. It just stands to reason that whatever you put into your system will eventually work its way forth.
The privy's out back, if that's what you're hinting at.
My gastrointestinal tract is holding up just fine for the time being, ma'am. What are your specials this evening?
Meat and potatoes.
I'll try the beef.
And how do you want your beef cooked?
Well done.
I like it rare myself.
Oh, well, lots of folks do.
Well, meat don't taste right unless there's just a little blood running.
Blacken it, please.
So you want it charred on the outside and pink in the middle?
Ma'am, would you please cook the steak through and through?
Well, if that's the way you want it.
That is how I would prefer it, ma'am. Thank you.
Perfect waste of good meat, if you ask me.
Thank God they don't have the vote.
So, Doc, why do you take your steak black?
Well, it kills off all the bacterial matter.
Bacterial matter.
Germs, amoebas, parasites, they're everywhere. You see, germs are like dust. They carry around disease like a puppy totes slippers.
I don't see nary one.
Oh, well, they're microscopically small, but they are tenacious.
Well, there's germs in the corner cafe?
By the looks of it, I'd say about 1 million or so have set up housekeeping in this very room.
Good God Almighty.
Oh, well, there's no call to panic. Whiskey's a fine way to keep them at bay. Serves to sterilize the system, you understand.
What about soda pop?
Well, carbonated beverages, in moderation, have actually been proven to benefit metabolism, son.
Oh, well, that doesn't surprise me.
I hope you brought your appetite with you.
Oh, good Lord, if that don't smell tasty, I don't know what does.
I cooked it up beautiful for him.
Ma'am, I believe I wanted this well done.
Well, Doc, it's barely pink. Here, cut it.
I've seen cows hurt worse than this get better.
It's not bloody, it's juicy. It's tasty, just taste it.
Dr. Gray?
If you'll excuse me, I have some rather pressing business to attend to.
Well, good Lord.
It doesn't look too germy to me.
Now, Galen P. Gray might have been a mite squeamish, but having a bona fide healer in town was a good thing for people. And I don't mind telling you, we couldn't wait to get sick
Miss Wingfield. What seems to ail you today?
I'm just a tad on the peaked side, dog.
Oh, peaked, you say?
Yes, sir. I've got no more pet than a dog in the sun.
Or perhaps you've picked up a bit of a bug.
You know what the funny thing is? No matter how worn out I get, I just can't seem to sleep. I toss, turn, up, down, pacing the floorboards all night long. I guess I'm just naturally nervy. Always have been.
Could you stick your tongue out and say ah for me? Ah. Good. There we go. Tonsils look normal.
Okay. I've never been to the doctor before. I want you to know that I'm enjoying it.
Good.
I can't help but notice you don't have a ring on your finger, Doc. I take it you must be a widower?
I've never known the privilege of marriage.
Oh, well, we have something in common. I've never been married myself.
Miss Wingfield, I would like you to take this jar out to the privy and relieve yourself in it.
You want to try that thought bunny again?
I need to examine your urine.
What kind of animal are you?
I'm merely trying to ascertain the root cause of your chronic insomnia.
Oh my God! I have insomnia!
Well, tell me about it.
I've always suspicioned I've had something drastically wrong with me, Belva. I just didn't know what it was.
Guess what I have? Migraines.
Oh, you poor thing, you.
What do you do for him?
A hot compress.
Migraines ain't nothing. Mr. Collins has, what do you call that thing
Oh.
there you got? That's...
I have a dyspeptic ulcer.
Yes.
I have arthritis in my hand. My dear God. It's incurable. Insomnia.
Migraines.
Arthritis.
Oh, rheumatism.
Menstruation.
Indigestion.
From all across the county they came.
The lame.
The infirm.
The sickly.
The peaked.
The down in the mouth.
People flocked to the healer like birds flock to crumbs. And there was something wrong with you if you didn't have something wrong with you.
Well, I wouldn't set foot near the man.
And why not?
Because he's nothing but trouble, that's why. Now, I may not be able to read, but I have committed the Bible chapter and verse to my heart. Now, you got your leprosy, you got your demon possession, you got your plagues by the score, but there is not one germ in the Bible.
Well, folks did feel a lot better before that man came to town, Pastor. It's true.
Well, I wish he'd float back to whence he came, Homer.
You got something personal against him, or is it just biblical?
Well, I hate to talk, Margaret,
I know you do, Pastor. I hate to talk too.
but Tiny told me, my own sister told me that he told her to disrobe herself right in front of me.
Did she do it?
I'm not at liberty to say, Judy, but what kind of a scoundrel would ask a good woman, a fine Christian flower, to do such a thing? I tell you, it stinks right to the core.
Personally, I'm all in favor of nudity.
Jude.
When I went to see him, I took off all my clothes. Every last stitch. And he stripped right down to his birthday suit too. And then we danced around a fire and sacrificed small animals and house pets until the sun came up.
Judy, don't josh.
If I had a sister or a girlfriend or a wife or something, I sure as heck wouldn't let her go near him.
I'd best be headed for home, Pastor.
Mind yourself, Judy.
I'll see you at church, right, June?
Bye, Homer.
I'll buy you a soda pop sometime.
Pastor, where's Tiny been keeping herself? She went to service on Sunday, nor to choir practice on Wednesday.
That darn doctor told her to stay up all night and sleep all day.
Well, I never heard such a thing.
Tiny told me she saw him late last night. And just take a guess where he was. Graveyard.
The graveyard?
Oh, yeah.
Well, what was the doc doing at the
Did he
graveyard?
have a shovel?
Oh, he's one of those secretive free thinkers, Maggie. No telling what he'll do. Dig up dead people, desecrate bodies, just for curiosity's sake.
He wasn't digging up dead people, was he?
Well, I don't think we've sunk to that yet, Homer, but I know a preacher who knows a fella who's talked to a man that lives in the city.
And?
Well, what he said is that there's a doctor there who keeps an entire jar of gizzards
and I'm talking human-type gizzards. Pickled right there on his desk.
Pickle?
Pickled him, that's what I said. Just like a God-blessed cucumber, Homer. I tell you what, it gives a man pause.
Oh, I don't know what this world is coming to.
Pickled gizzard.
In reality, I'm sound asleep right now. But for purposes of telling this story, I am a tree.
And I am a tree with a swing in me.
And this is a clothesline.
This is June's yard, and in case you ain't guessed it by now, I'm one tree with a real bad crush on the prettiest girl in the county.
Mama,
Yes, June?
do you think you'll ever get married again?
I doubt it.
Why not?
Because I'm still in love with your father, that's why. I imagine I always will be.
Well, suppose you like somebody a lot, and they liked you back, and they asked you to marry them. What do you think you do then?
Honey, that's not gonna happen.
But what if they did?
It won't.
I ain't saying it will, but it's possible, ain't it?
June, what's your point?
I think we should ask Dr. Gray over for dinner.
No.
Why not?
Because I have no interest in courting that man. None whatsoever.
Well, what if I do?
Oh, Lord, June.
I like him, Ma. I really, really like him.
Junie, he's too old for you.
You were in love at my age.
Yes, but your pa was no older than me.
I'm old enough to know how I feel.
Honey, you don't even know Dr. Gray.
Then why don't we ask him to dinner and rectify that?
No.
But, Ma!
I said no, June.
Maybe he could just make a house call or something.
You're not sick.
Well, you are.
I am not ill in the least.
Then why do you keep throwing up in the morning? Are you having a baby?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I mean, I don't know if I am or not yet.
Well, maybe you should ask Dr. Gray.
We've already spoken about it at length.
And what did he say?
I don't want to talk about this.
You sure?